Assalamualaikum and greetings to Ms. Akmar. Today, we will be presenting our project about article analysis on Introduction to General Linguistics subject.
These are my group members. I'm Masyitah Badrulaini Binti Oyot, with my friend Hidayah Binti Yunus and Valindanieta Binti Apin, and we're from MSUC SABAH.
Starting off with the introduction, linguistics is solid and valid proof that humans are developing throughout time and will keep on improving, as the spoken language is then written, then developed to become a complex yet convenient use of tools being utilized to convey information and communicate with other than speaking. In this project, we were tasked to do an article analysis based on an article that we choose from the internet or Google that either covers social or medical issues. The article that we have chosen is called Smart People Less Racist, Verbal Ability, Anti-Black Prejudice, and the Principal Policy Paradox, written by Geoffrey T. Watt, that was published on January 2016. Starting off with word formation process, the word formation process is regarded as the branch of morphology, and it has a significant role in expanding the vocabulary that helps us communicate very smoothly. The main objectives of the formation word process are to form new words with the same root by deploying different rules or processes. There are 9 essential word formation processes, namely derivation, back formation, conversion, compounding, clipping, blending, abbreviation, acronyms, and borrowing. But on this project, we only found 8 the essential word for formation process, which is derivation, back formation, compounding, clipping, blending, abbreviation, acronyms, and borrowing. The first word formation process is derivation. Derivation is one of the significant word formation processes that attach derivation affixes to the main form to create a new word. Affixes, which is prefixes or suffixes, are regarded as bound morphemes. A bound morpheme does not have any independent meaning, and it needs the help of a free morpheme to form a new word. So, as from the article, on what we can found, we found the word profoundly, and the best forms is profound. For equally, the best form is equal. Broadly, the best form is broad. Readily is ready. Commonly, the best forms is common. The second word formation process is back formation. Back formation is a word formation process that eliminates the actual derivational affix from the main form to create a new word. However, back formation is contrary to derivation in terms of forming new words. For example, best from the article, we found the back formation is lighten and the best formation is enlightenment. From the article, commit, and the best formation is commitment. Equal, the best formation is equalities. Prejudice, the best formation is prejudicial. The last one is through, and the best formation is throughout. The third word formation process is compounding. Compounding is a word formation process that allows words to be combined to make a new word. Compounding words can also be formed as 2 words joined with a hyphen. For example, workplace, the compounding words is workplace, out and come, outcome, demo and graphic, demographics, neighbor and hood, neighborhood, for and going, foregoing, counter and parts, counterparts. And all these words, we found it on the article. The fourth word formation process is clipping. Clipping reduces or shortens a word without changing the exact meaning. In contrast to the back formation process, it reserves the original meaning. For example, from what we can find from the article is the clipping is act, and the real word is action. The clipping is develop, and the words is development. Civil, the real word is civilization. Prior, the word is priority. Cause, and the real word is because. A fifth word formation process is blending. The combination of 2 separate forms to produce a single new term is also present in the process called blending. However, blending is typically accomplished by taking only the beginning of one word and joining it to the end of the other word. In the blending word formation method, the parts of 2 or more words combine to form a new word. For example, from what we can find from the article, for example, is socioeconomics. The blendings is socio or social and economy. And then the second words is multidimensional. The blendings are multiple in dimension. The sixth word formation process is abbreviation. Abbreviation is another famous and widely used word formation method used to shorten a word or phrase. For example, from what we can find on the article, here is for example, and the abbreviation is E.G. And then the second one is that is, and the abbreviation is I.E. The seventh word formation process is acronyms. Acronym is a popular word formation process in which an initialism is pronounced as a word. It forms from the first letter of each word in a phrase, and the newly formed letters create a new word that helps us speedy communication. For example, the acronyms that we can find from the article is GSS, and the real meaning is General Social Surveys. The second one is GTVIT, and the real word for it is Gallup Thorndike Verbal Intelligence Test. And the last one is WISE-R, WAIS-R, which is Wechsler Adult Intelligence Scale Revised. Last but not least is the eighth word formation process, which is borrowing. One of the most common sources of new words in English is the process simply labeled as borrowing. It is the process where we take over words from other languages, or simply we borrow words from other languages. Technically, it's more than just borrowing because English doesn't give them back. Throughout its history, the English language has adopted a vast number of words from the other languages, including French, German, Italian, and Persian. So, from what we can get from the article, the word justice is borrowed from French. The word prejudice is borrowed from Latin. Also, the efflux words borrowed from Latin. The words egalitarian is borrowed by French, and last but not least, rigidity is borrowed by Latin.
Hello, my name is Valinda, and I will be presenting my part, which is the development of writing. Writing was originated from Mesopotamia. There are many kinds of writings that emerged until the alphabets and words that we use now in different languages, as well as many additional languages that evolve over time. Pictograms were also used as a way for people in the past to communicate basic informations. Nowadays, pictograms are still being used, but only some of it is symbolized as an action, object, and so on. And here, as you can see, there are two types of pictographs, which is the ancient pictograph and the other one is the modern pictograph. The article that we have chose only has a few suitable words that can be symbolized. This is because the words from the article that we chose are complex. Below is one of the examples from the article.
So as for my part, I'm going to elaborate a lot about semantics. And semantic known as the study of reference, meaning, or truth. It studies how meaning is formed, is clarified, understood, obfuscated, illustrated, simplified, or even paraphrased. In semantics, we have two meanings. Firstly, we have conceptual meaning. For example, in the article, law among whites, which means a culture that defines white people. And the second meaning is associative meaning. For example, this study provides new evidence. The word study, we have behind the study we have to struggle like it's a job, it's work, and they feel exhausted, tired, and sleepy. And next we have semantic features. Lexical object related with the notions like female plus performer equals to actress. More broadly, it can be a component of any grammatical unit, whether composed or not, like female plus performer equals to the female performer or the actress. One component of a word's purpose is the intrinsic meaning or notion evoked, which is represented by an individual semantic characteristic. So below the table that I explain about semantic features based on the article we search. Next is the semantic roles, means features that noun phrases have based on their meaning inside the sentence. So the first semantic roles is agent and theme. From the article, these findings suggest the importance of investigating temporal heterogeneity and the attitudinal effects of cognitive ability. So in this sentence, the things that executes the action is called agent, and the agent in the sentence is findings. And the theme is the result that is directly affected or described by the action. In this case, importance of investigating temporal heterogeneity is the theme. Next is instrument and experiencer. From the article, the first column of table 2 presents descriptive statistics about anti-black prejudice, views on segregation and discrimination, and grading policy attitudes for the total sample. Several patterns are evident in this data. So in this example, we can notice that there is a table that helps the agents, which is in the first column, to perform the actions or the results, which is like the descriptive statistics. That is the semantic role of instrument. And when the action is related to a result, a view, a perception, or a state, the agent takes the name of experiencer, which is segregations and discriminations and racial policy attitudes for the total sample. Several patterns are evident in this data. And then we have location, source, and goal. So from the article, Table 6 presents estimates of cohort differences in the effects of verbal ability on racial policy attitudes. Table 6 is the locations. The other sentence, this analysis uses a version of the fixed effects specifications for age period cohort models proposed by Young and Len in 2008. So Young and Len 2008 is the source. Next sentence, these items measure support for much higher taxes to fund environmental protections. So to fund is the goal. Next is thematic roles, which means any collection of semantic roles a noun phrase can play in respect to a verb. So I have 3 examples from the article. First, we have the among all cohorts considered in this analysis. All cohorts is the agent and the analysis is the locations. So as you can see, for my second example, the explanation is the agent, so committed to racial equality is the theme, and negative consequences is the experiencer. For my third example, moderated effects of verbal ability on racial policy attitudes by parental and labor force status. Verbal ability is the theme, and parental and labor force status is the source. Besides that, we have 10 lexical relation, which is synonymy, antonymy, hyponymy, prototype, homophones, holsemy, metonymy, metaphor, collocations, and homonyms. First, we have synonymy. Synonyms are 2 or more words that have extremely similar meaning, where they can frequently but not always be replaced for one other in phrases. Based on the article, the word ability at the abstract of the article refers to the physical or mental power or skill needed to do something. However, based on the other dictionary, the word ability has synonymy with skills, which means able or talent to do something. Second, we have antonymy, that are 2 forms having opposing meanings. Antonyms are classified into 2 types, which is gradable and non-gradable. Contrary, adjectives like big or small are referred to as gradable, and non-gradable words are those that cannot be compared yet, have a complementary term like alive to dead. So based on the article, the word large and small as a group conflict and ideological refinement in the article is a contrary adjectives, so it referred to gradable. In other hands, the word negative and positive in the article is non-gradable. Next, we have a hyponymy. The connection is defined as hyponymy when the meaning of one form is encompassed in the meaning of another. So based on the article, the word group at the abstract of the article is a noun which means a number of people or things that are located, gathered, or classed together. However, based on the classic dictionaries, the word group has hyponymy with we, team, party, charity, teammate, or even antelope. So I have simple examples there. Like group, we have boy and girl. In boy, we have Malik, Jeho, and Jericho, and in a girl, we have Shakira, Daya, and Belinda. Besides, we have prototype. The prototype is the concept of the typical instance of a category. The idea of prototype is a cognitive reference point, the prototype of all representations of words or categories meaning. So based on the article, the word are smart people less racist. And the title of the article, which questions the reader that smart people can be regarded as prototype, which is a good example, and because they are less racist. Then we have homophones. Homophones are 2 or more different written forms that have the same pronunciations. So based on the article, the word for at the abstract of the article used to indicate the place of someone or something is going or to it. In other case, this word has homophones which for have O-U-R, which refers to number or table in the article. However, these 2 words have different form of writing but have the same pronunciations. Then we have the homonyms. When one form, written or spoken, has 2 more unrelated meanings, we call them homonyms. Based on the article, the word first, second, and third in the cognitive ability and the alignment perspective in the article refers to sequence connectors. However, these words also can refer to numbers. Other than that, we have holsemy. Holsemy is defined as having multiple meanings in one form, written or spoken, that are related by extensions. Based on the article, the word individuals in the cognitive ability and the alignment perspective in the article means someone or a person. In this case, these individuals can refer as a woman or a man. Next is the metonymy. It is a 2-word relationship based on everyday life experience. Based on the article, the word older studies in the cognitive ability and the alignment perspective in the article defines as a thought by people or person that studied the topic about a long time ago. This connection between older and studies can be based on time-content relation. After that, we have the metaphor. A metaphor is a phrase that does not convey the literal meanings of the words, but is used to convey something else. Based on the article, the word colorblind and the group conflict and ideological refinement in the article refers to a racism theory, which means holding the belief that an individual's race or ethnicity should not influence how the individual is treated in society. In this case, colorblind defined as a metaphor because in the article it allows us to deny uncomfortable cultural differences. Lastly, we have the collocations, which refers to the act of frequently occurring together. Words frequently occur in conjunctions with other words. Based on the article, the words black and white and the hypothesis of the article are referred to the color of a culture that tend to occur. In this case, this word belongs to each other but not classified as an antonym but collocations.
Morphology studies the word structure in terms of morphemes. A morpheme is the smallest unit of meaning in grammar. It also deals with the emergence of words and word structure. There are two types of morphemes, which is the free morpheme and the bound morpheme. Free morphemes is a word element that can stand alone as a word. Mostly it is nouns, adjectives, verbs, and so forth. And there are two types of it, which is lexical morpheme and functional morpheme. While bound morpheme is a word element that cannot stand alone on its own, and it is the opposite from free morphemes. Free morphemes join together with bound morphemes to create new words. Also, bound morphemes has two types, which is derivational and inflectional. And now I'm going into detail more about free morphemes. So as I mentioned before, free morphemes has two types, which is lexical and functional. Lexical is a group of words for nouns, adjectives, and verbs. And lexical morphemes are also known as an open class word. And below of it is the examples of lexical morphemes. While functional morphemes is a set of morphemes that is used as conjunctions, prepositions, and pronouns. And it is also known as a closed class words. As for bound morphemes also have two types, which is derivational and inflectional. Derivational is a process of creating new word by adding a prefix or a suffix. Example has been shown down below. And as for the inflectional morphemes, it is a suffix that is added to a word in order to give that word a specific grammatical property, such as its tense, number, possessions, or comparison. Below are the inflectional morphemes and its functions. And here is one of the examples of inflectional morphemes that has been found in the article that we have analyzed. For the morphological description, this is one of the examples from the article that we have analyzed.
So as for the conclusion, the article of Are Smart People Less Racist? Global Ability, Anti-Black Prejudice, and the Principal Policy Paradox explain well about racial tolerance and a greater commitment to racial equality. The whole article has the four elements needed, which are word formation process, development of writing, semantics, and morphology. The elements learned from the article provides good knowledge and increase each other's ability to be more specifically in writing or speaking about something, because we believe a good and well-organized sentence leads to perfect result of communications and even in the presentations.